So in this segment, we're going to be discussing Rishi Sunak confronted on the fact that there are people in Britain stealing baby formula because they can't afford it. This is the situation we're seeing now in this country. Let that sink in for a second. We live in a country that is supposedly one of the richest countries in the world, and you have people stealing baby formula because they can't afford it. And Rishi Sunak's answers of this are just stupid and out of touch. And I hope that this is the attack line the Labour Party go with. Just portray Sunak as out of touch because he is. You know, what does a billionaire know about poverty? Honestly. And, if they know anything about poverty, why aren't they doing anything to fix it? Because we know for a fact these Tory governments have not done anything.
And last question, very quickly, on the cost of living, because we've been reporting today about desperate parents stealing baby formula. ONS statistics suggesting highest food price rises on record.
About 19.1% food inflation's looking like.
Is that acceptable in a country as rich as the UK?
But I know the cost of living is the number one challenge facing British families at the moment. That's why my number one priority out of my 5 priorities is to halve inflation.
Okay, so halving inflation, it's not going to be up to you, dog, to fix that. Let's be honest now. Inflation will come down on its own because these price rises are massively unsustainable. But if you wanted to do something, you would stop the price gouging by the supermarkets by opening up investigations into their actions, but also doing windfall taxes on them, because some of these supermarkets have price gouged people. Let's be honest now. And even if you half inflation, if it goes to 5%, it doesn't mean the prices will come down. It just means the rapid rate that they have been going up for the last few months, that will come down. So, the prices will still keep going up. Even if inflation's at 5%, it means a 5% increase potentially on food. And even then, right, food inflation is at about 19.1%. CPI inflation, Consumer Price Index, is about 10%. So even if you half inflation by some miracle, which I hope happens, like I said, it should happen naturally, but you just don't know because we've had bad inflation for the last few months now. That probably won't deal with the food price. Supermarkets are promising that prices are going to come down. We have to wait and see on that one. But Sunak is just, Labour need to run with the fact that he's out of touch. Honestly, he's out of touch, and the fact that they really haven't is just shocking. They have done it a bit when they talked about him being on a helicopter rather than being on a train at taxpayers' expense, but I think they've got to run with it more.
To ease those burdens on the cost of living, one of the most important things we are doing to help families with the cost of living is helping with energy bills. I made a decision to tax the windfall profits of energy companies last year.
You didn't really do that, did you? Because you said, like, if they invest the money into the UK, then they don't have to pay the tax. So it didn't even generate that much in terms of tax revenue. If you'd done it properly, I think even, like the Labour Party said they would have done, you'd have taken all that money, not given them this exception, and given that money back to the British people, and you would continue to do these windfall taxes to help people. This is just more baloney from our liar-in-chief.
We're using that money to help pay for people's energy bills, and right now
that money's coming from borrowing, bro. You're borrowing the money to help people deal with their energy bills. You're not using the windfall tax money to do that. It's just absolute lies, honestly.
Half of a typical household's energy bill, £1,500, is being paid by the government. That should give people a sense that we are on their side. We are trying to help with this. With food in particular, which of course is something we want to help with, we've got to recognise right now there are challenges across Europe. Inflation rates in most European countries similar to ours.
That's nonsense. Okay, I tell you that's nonsense because we've looked at it in a previous video. But let's have a look. Right, inflation rates. Right, let's look at Eurozone first. We'll keep France out of this because France are in a unique position when it comes to energy. We've got Eurozone. We're going to put in Italy. We're going to put in Germany, right? So let's have a look. We've gone through this before in different videos, but he's triggering me with his lies. Italy's inflation was higher than ours, but I reckon their consumer price index probably way more accurate than ours. They're gonna probably include the typical foods and stuff they have in Italy rather than apparently the UK uses theatre tickets. Nonsense, right? But look at that. Italy's inflation's come down to 8.3, so a dramatic drop off, and their inflation was much lower than ours as well. I can't help with the grey lines, blame the FT for that. But you see the UK's inflation's been consistently higher than Italy, so Italy's dropped to 8.3, right? So the argument that our inflation is similar to is similar to Europe is nonsense. The UK at 10.1 in March, the Eurozone's looking at 7%. Germany about 7.2. I'm going to say 7.2. Italy at 8.3. So the argument that we're anywhere near the other European countries, absolute nonsense.
We have particular support for young families, something called Healthy Start vouchers, which provide money to young families with the cost of fresh food. But also the Household Support Fund is £1 billion that we've given to local councils that families can go and talk to their council about to get that extra support. That's specific there to help them on top of all the things we're doing.
Surely it should be automatic, because you know which people are on universal credit. You know which families need the support, really, for the most part. So why not just make it automatic instead of making it so the councils have to give out the money? Because people don't know about this stuff. You know, that thing, you know, with the Sure Start, or whatever it's called, I don't even know about it. I doubt the average person does. You know, I doubt the average person knows that they can go to the they can go to the council potentially to get help. I don't think people know about any of this stuff. So it's just nonsense. The help should be automatic. You know, not through, you know, red tape and bureaucracy. I thought you guys don't like that sort of stuff.
As I said, most importantly, helping with energy bills by taxing windfall profits of energy companies.
It's just capping, and this is something that Labour and media need to do better on, because that windfall tax he did was a joke, an absolute joke. Like I said, the majority of the money, about 90% of it, was a tax write-off. If they invested that money into the UK, how does that help people with their energy bills? Honestly, it's just it's just fraudulent statement after fraudulent statement. And, you know, he was allowed to keep making this, and the interview didn't even stop him once. This is another reason why we have such crappy politicians in the UK, because the media refuses to do its responsibility and hold these people accountable. You know, probably about 6 or 7 lies here in the space of a 1 minute 30 clip. That's how many lies I think he's told there. Honestly, it's just, wow. That all that energy support is coming through borrowing. You know, and you know, the idea that the government are paying for it, it's the taxpayer that are paying for energy support, that predominantly, and the money that we have to borrow for this stuff is going to have to get paid back as well. Because you're going to be like, oh, we need to do more austerity because we've done all this borrowing, because we're a bunch of melon heads who didn't tax these companies properly. There should be windfall tax on supermarkets. There should be windfall tax on these energy companies. But it's just an absolute joke after joke after joke, and the saddest thing is the British people are the punchline, because we keep allowing this stuff to happen. Honestly, at this point, it's just comical that these people keep getting away with it. I just despair. Honestly, I just despair, because this is ridiculous at this point. You know, he's lying about the windfall tax, talking about inflation, despite, you know, saying our inflation's comparable to like other countries, when our inflation is definitely not. We're significantly higher than other countries, significantly higher, and our inflation has been a lot more consistent, as in consistently high, which obviously is not good, than the other countries, and you can see that in graph form. If you like graphs, you can see it here. I just wish the FT gave me better colours. But honestly, it's just incredibly frustrating just to see any politician, especially the Prime Minister, just get away with stuff, and for the media just not to call it out, because it's not hard, guys. It's not hard. You know I have the luxury of being able to pause and go over stuff, but really you guys should have the facts at hand, because you know which line he's going to go for, because most of these politicians are robots. They go for the same line over and over and over again. Talks about his pledge, talks about the windfall tax, talks about other things. You could fact check him live and mug him. But honestly, that's not what journalists do nowadays. They're there to ask one question, get an answer, ask another question, get an answer. No follow-ups, no interruptions. I just can't even. Anyways, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Support the channel on Patreon if you can. And hopefully I'll see you in the next one.